Good evening and welcome to California Today, the California division of NTD News, bringing you top news from the Golden State. I'm David Lamb. Let's take a look at today's stories. Beekeepers are coming from across the nation to California's Central Valley to pollinate the state's almond crop, but high prices for the bees' services are leading to theft and countermeasures. In Los Angeles, the Attorney General announced arrests and weapons seizure from those who are not allowed to have them under state law. Lawmakers are introducing a bill that would make remote access to public government meetings permanent. The authors cited pandemic-related changes that made remote teleconferencing a norm. A sex offender in Los Angeles said he expects to get off with minimal punishment in a phone call recorded from jail. The offender's victim hopes the situation will be different.
Fox News reported on Monday exclusive recordings of a transgender child molester discussing his potentially lenient punishment during a prison phone call. Hannah Tubbs, formerly James, admitted last month to molesting a 10-year-old girl in 2014. In a recorded call to his father, Tubbs said that he expects to be put on probation but not on California's registered sex offenders list. Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon decided to try Tubbs as a juvenile as he was 2 weeks away from his 18th birthday at the time of the attack. Tubbs is now being held in juvenile hall for girls. Tubbs' victim, who spoke to Fox News on the condition of anonymity, said, "The things he did to me and made me do that day was beyond horrible for a 10-year-old girl to have to go through." She added he deserved to be tried as an adult. She said, "I see it also unfair to try him as a woman as well, seeing how he clearly didn't act like one on January 1st of 2014. Tubbs requested to be referred to as her to receive more lenient treatment. He said in a call, "So when you come to court, make sure you address me as her." He added, "So now they're going to put me with other trannies that have seen their cases like mine." Tubbs changed his gender to female after he was taken into custody.
The San Jose police arrested 35 individuals suspected of sexual assault during an investigation. They have all been charged with crimes ranging from misdemeanor to felony cases.
The San Jose Police Department Sexual Assault Investigations Unit arrested 35 suspects that had outstanding warrants during an operational sweep between January 1st and February 14th. In cooperation with other police department units, they made 29 arrests in 1 month. 2 of them were made outside of San Jose. All of the suspects are San Jose residents. They are charged with sex crimes ranging from misdemeanor sexual assault to felony cases of sexual assault of a minor and rape. In a statement, Councilwoman Sylvia Arenas said, "I hope that these successful arrests will aid survivors in their journey of healing, some who may have waited as long as 6 years for justice, and empower more survivors to come forward." The dates of these cases ranged from 2016 to as early as February of 2022. Police say there could be additional victims. Anyone with additional information about these cases is urged to contact the San Jose Police Department's Sexual Assault Investigations Unit.
Local governments would be permanently required to offer remote access in public meetings under a new bill introduced into the California Assembly. Current law requires a majority vote to conduct remote meetings.
Assembly members Alex Lee and Cristina Garcia introduced Assembly Bill 1944 on February 10th, seeking to make remote meetings permanent. The bill also seeks to waive one requirement under the Brown Act, which requires government officials to publicize their private addresses if they are teleconferencing remotely. Lee said in a statement, "During the pandemic, we've seen that remote public participation for government is not only possible, but vital to many folks who otherwise would be excluded from decision-making spaces." He argued that the Brown Act's requirements to disclose private addresses could hurt an official's ability to conduct their civil duties. Additionally, AB 1944 would require public access to live streams of meetings wherever local elected officials teleconference remotely. This would ensure members of the public can always address their elected officials through call-in or video option. Both co-authors cited pandemic-related changes that made remote meetings a widely accepted method of communication.
The San Francisco Police Department announced on Sunday they are investigating a suspicious death of a 16-year-old girl.
The police department responded to the 600 block of Medina Street to help paramedics with a possible overdose. When they arrived, they declared the victim, a 16-year-old female, deceased. The San Francisco County Medical Examiner declared the death suspicious. The SFPD homicide detail are leading the investigation. No arrests have been made, and the investigation is open. The location of her death was just blocks away from the Tenderloin district. The district houses San Francisco's safe injection site, but it is also known to be filled with drug dealers, addicts, and homeless individuals.
The Supreme Court will not intervene in the case of a high school student who claims her school's COVID-19 vaccine mandate discriminates against her. The San Diego Unified School District is one of the few districts in the U.S. that requires children to receive the vaccine with no religious exemption allowed. The student filing the application has recovered from an earlier COVID-19 infection. Her court application says it's against her religious beliefs to get the vaccine. Lower courts have gone back and forth in their decisions on the constitutionality of the district's mandate. Almost 2 months after, a law firm filed an emergency application to the Supreme Court. The full court denied it, following a change in direction from the school district. The school board voted earlier this month against implementing the vaccine mandate until the fall 2022 semester, at the earliest. The Supreme Court's decision potentially leaves the door open for future action. The Attorney General announced the results of a recent operation in Los Angeles County to remove firearms and ammunition from individuals who are not legally allowed to have them.
Attorney General Rob Bonta announced a firearms sweep targeting individuals listed in the California Department of Justice's Armed and Prohibited Persons System, or APPS, as no longer legally allowed to own or possess firearms and ammunition.
Across the state, DOJ agents and local law enforcement use apps to cross-reference firearm owners against criminal history records, mental health records, and restraining orders so we can prevent those individuals from owning and possessing guns.
Several authorities worked together during a 5-day sweep that targeted individuals listed as prohibited from possessing firearms in 51 cities in Los Angeles County. They made 13 arrests, as well as the seizure of 114 firearms, including assault weapons, ghost guns, lower receivers, handguns, rifles, and shotguns, as well as over 49,000 rounds of ammunition and 87 high-capacity magazines. The operation in Los Angeles follows an APPS sweep in January in the Bay Area that resulted in the seizure of 30 firearms and 8 arrests. In 2006, the state of California became the first and only state in the nation to establish a system for tracking firearm owners who fall into a prohibited status.
The San Francisco School District may lay off up to 400 school workers in a coming vote. The district is looking to decrease its budget after drops in enrollment. The San Francisco Board of Education will vote on potential staff position layoffs, according to NBC Bay Area. Hundreds of educators in the school district received layoff notices, which are only warnings at this point. About 400 district employees may lose their jobs as the district looks to cut the budget. Just over 150 of those positions are credentialed teachers. The district looks to cover a $125 million deficit, mostly from dropping enrollment. Officials told KTVU last year that enrollment has dropped mostly from lockdowns as families left the district or city. And coming up, couples are amused by today's unique date and are taking the opportunity to tie the knot. It's a rare date because of its sequence of twos, and so some considered it lucky. And a state lawmaker is seeking to create a Bill of Rights for pets. Local pet owners have differing views on the bill. That and more here on NTD News. The Port of Los Angeles reported the busiest January in its 115-year history. Though exports are still low, the port is expecting to have more work ahead in the coming months.
The Port of Los Angeles is expecting a busy summer shipping season as retailers restock depleted inventory, the port's director said.
Quarter two, more commonly, is known as our slack season in the Trans-Pacific trade. But as I've mentioned, retailers continue to tell us that they're going to focus that time in quarter two on replenishing these inventory levels. And that gives us a chance to keep this caravan of cargo moving.
While a lower number of ships from Asian manufacturers came in during the Lunar New Year, the port says it saw its busiest January since it opened. Soroka said the port processed nearly 900,000 containers last month, a 3.6% increase over last year. Nearly half of the ships serviced last month were not the standard large container ships, but smaller ones hired by retailers. They carry less cargo, but require the same amount of time, Soroka said.
24 of those 87 vessels were ad hoc or unscheduled. So what's been added into the mix is a combination of smaller ships that have been not part of our traditional weekly services.
Empty containers also piled up, with 64,000 unused boxes now at the port.
We're monitoring our empty counts daily, and we're looking for even more progress in this area.
At the same time, exports are down.
Meanwhile, exports continue their abominable slide, showing a nearly 16% decline year on year.
The port is exploring ways to aggregate and streamline exports and encourage more rail shipping. They are also looking at identifying terminals for fast lane concepts for dairy and agricultural products.
For a few weeks, beekeepers rent out truckloads of honeybees to farmers to pollinate crops. But due to beehive thefts, beekeepers are turning to technology to protect their precious colonies. NTD's Andrew Thomas reports.
The past few weeks, more than 300 hives were reported stolen in the San Joaquin Valley, loot that's worth tens of thousands of dollars.
Sadly, people have gotten more into theft because the business and the industry has grown so much, and people think they can make a quick, easy buck by stealing hives and putting them into pollination.
Close to 400 more vanished from a field in Mendocino County, prompting the state's Beekeeper Association to offer a $10,000 reward. A few days later, authorities recovered the boxes of bees 20 miles away. One suspect was arrested.
Sadly, beekeepers are the only people stealing bees from other beekeepers. You have to have specialized equipment. It's not something that's a random act. It's very calculated.
So some beekeepers are starting to equip hive boxes with GPS-enabled sensors. Others are tagging their boxes with clear liquid only visible under UV light.
It's very difficult for professional beekeepers like us to keep our hives alive, and it's become increasingly difficult, which makes the theft even more catastrophic to our industry. I mean, it takes us over a year to build a healthy hive, and so when it's stolen from us, it's not something we can easily replace.
The supply of bees has been dropping, and the cost to rent a hive of the essential pollinators has soared, jumping from about $40 per hive 2 decades ago to as much as $230 per hive this year, likely motivators for the thefts. The insects are essential for pollinating food crops and keeping agriculture healthy. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
Every year, crowds of people travel to Yosemite to see a unique firefall. The horsetail fall can glow orange when it's backlit by the sun. Crowds of sightseers and photographers flock to Yosemite National Park this time of the year to witness this rare firefall. The phenomenon occurs when the sunlight hits the waterfall at the right time and creates the illusion of a glowing waterfall over the eastern edge of El Capitan Rock. It occurs for 2 weeks in mid to late February. Some people arrive 5 hours early just to catch the rare sighting. Has your pet ever told you it wished for more rights? A Southern California lawmaker's pet apparently has. The new bill seeks to establish a Bill of Rights for the state's furry companions. NTD's Cynthia Kai spoke with some dog owners to hear more about the needs of their four-legged friends.
Can you speak? Oh? No, he's not going to say anything today.
Assembly Bill 1881, also known as the Animal Welfare Dog and Cat Bill of Rights, would give pets the right to health care, shelter, nutritious food, be free from abuse, and more. But pet owners have differing views on the bill.
I think that we need them as pet owners because dogs are a part of our lives and we're a part of theirs, and 100% I'm all for it.
Some say they support the bill if it can actually ensure pet owners are responsible for their pets and reduce the number of neglected pets in shelters.
If you look at the kind of shelters we have in the Bay Area and the number of dogs there are definitely a lot of neglected dogs. We find that a lot of pet owners don't really understand what it means to be a pet parent or a pet owner. They end up wanting somebody for company and they end up adopting a pet, but sometimes they don't have the full capacity to take care of the pets.
Others see the bill as unnecessary.
It seems common sense that people who have pets should treat them a certain way. They should be, well taken care of. And so it's funny that there's even the thought that you would need a bill for that.
The legislation text also states that pets have a right to be spayed or neutered to reduce the state's dog and cat overpopulation. Assemblyman Miguel Santiago, a pet owner, introduced the bill on February 8th. He says the bill is also in response to the millions of dollars spent every year to control a growing number of cats and dogs. If passed, every rescue group and animal association will be required to post the Bill of Rights for public view. Those who fail to do so will be fined up to $250.
So in terms of compliance, I don't think being punitive is the right approach. I would tell you that it's better to give people maybe a caution and advise them of the laws, but to fine somebody at $250 is quite a big ask.
Another person said a fine might be a good deterrent to people neglecting pets.
If you're taking the responsibility of adopting a pet, I think it comes with that kind of responsibility. Like I said, a lot of people tend to not take care of their pets. So I think this would be a good deterrent to people to just abandon their pets.
The bill did not specify how the law would be enforced. People at the dog park also questioned the enforceability.
So who's going to turn the people in? Are you going to have pet patrol police? Are you going to have common citizens turning people in? Because I don't think people are inclined to do that.
The bill is currently in the Assembly Committee on Business and Professions and is waiting for a first-time read. Cynthia Kai, NTD News, California.
What are the chances of the day, month, and year having the same digits? What about the chances of it landing on the day that sounds like it, like Tuesday? Some people are making that day extra memorable. This is the San Mateo County Clerk's Office, and the date is February 22nd, 2022. It's a special date, and some couples are making it more memorable by choosing to get married. Several county clerk's offices in the Bay Area extended their office hours for couples getting married on this date. It's a palindrome when the digits read the same forwards and backwards, which makes it easy to remember.
Lots of TV shows, there's always a problem with the husband forgetting the date. Now, I don't have an excuse because 222, that'll be ingrained in my memory.
We didn't think of let's have to get married on this day. But we thought that, we look it up actually just a couple weeks ago, and then it's available here. And then we thought, let's book an appointment first.
This couple just got their wedding license and certificate. Chen says her lucky number is 2, and they plan to have their wedding ceremony on Friday, which is also Chen's birthday.
Whether it's, the highs of life or even the lowest lows, that you have someone that you can share those things with and will be there with you no matter what.
I'm not scared anymore. So truly, I'm not scared to do this commitment. It's just on paper. I know that what our commitment is more solidified through our words and actions, but to actually make this official is very important to me.
During COVID, we had a major transformation here in that we couldn't marry people inside the building because of COVID restrictions. So we developed this new technology, which is called web-based marriages, and our IT department put together an application where people could actually get married online.
The clerk's office told NTD that they usually hold 4 to 5 weddings per day, but on days like Valentine's and today, it can go up to 20.
You now have a partner with you that's going to share life's experiences. You now transformed yourself from an individual to a couple that is going to share the future, a couple that is going to have plans.
The rest of the month also consists of palindrome dates. Irizarry says February 22nd is what's called an auspicious day. He says, according to folklore, it brings happiness, health, and longevity for those who get married. David Lamb, NTD News, California. Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for an update on sports.
As always, I'm Thomas Christian, taking you to the California Today Sports Roundup. Professional Football League XFL said on Monday it has reached an agreement with the NFL to collaborate on programs aimed at innovating the game and protecting the health of players. The main focus of the collaboration will be health and safety initiatives, with the two leagues working on forward-thinking physical and mental fitness programs for players, along with the study of playing surfaces and equipment. According to the XFL, additional avenues for collaboration may include international football development and scouting, as well as officiating, including the testing of different game rules for player protection. The XFL, a reboot of the 2001 league of the same name, had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in April 2020, a month after it had to cancel the remainder of its inaugural season because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The brainchild of Vince McMahon, the XFL reboot was the second attempt by the World Wrestling Entertainment Impresario to provide an NFL alternative to football fans, the first folding in 2001 after just one season. Former wrestler and Hollywood actor Dwayne Johnson teamed up with ex-wife Garcia and investment company Redbird Capital Partners to buy the XFL for $50 million in 2020, hours before the bankrupt American Football League was set to be auctioned. The XFL, which featured 8 teams in its most recent season, is slated to resume play in February 2023. Medina Spirit's victory in the 2021 Kentucky Derby has been nullified due to the presence of a banned drug in his system. Trainer Bob Baffert has been suspended for 90 days and fined, racing stewards ruled on Monday. The Dark Bay Colts win in May's Run for the Roses at Churchill Downs had delivered Baffert a record 7th win in North America's most prestigious race, until a post-race sample found betamethasone, a corticosteroid, in the horse's system. The test result led to a protracted battle between Baffert and the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission that ended with Monday's ruling, which suspends Baffert from March 8th to June 5th and will keep him out of this year's Kentucky Derby. He was also fined $7,500. Baffert has sought to draw a distinction between injectable betamethasone and betamethasone that is absorbed through an ointment, which is how he believes the drug entered into the Colt system. Baffert, one of the best-known trainers in the world, has come under scrutiny from state horse racing regulators in recent years after some of the horses in his stables tested positive for banned substances. Medina Spirit raced again at the Preakness Stakes in mid-May and finished 3rd, but was banned from the Belmont Stakes, the final leg of U.S. Thoroughbred Racing's Triple Crown. He died of a heart attack following a workout at a California racetrack in early December. After the steward's ruling was handed down, Churchill Downs congratulated Mandolin, the colt who had crossed the line second, and his trainer Brad Cox and jockey Florent Giroux on the win. As always, I'm Thomas Christian, and thanks for tuning in.
And that's all for tonight. You can join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. If you have any news tips or ideas for a show, feel free to let us know. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm David Lamb. Have a wonderful evening.